Welcome back, man. Again, this is for those with ears. I'm your brother Darshim Shears. Excuse the delay for this message. I've been a little bit busy. Okay. Not too busy though for me to dive into my word. I've just been too busy to record it and send another message out there. But this is the second part of the Ten Commandments, why it's so important. And this time we'll be talking about loving God. A few friends of mine and I were talking about loving God. And I had raised a question to them about how do you know that you love God? And it left them thinking, which was great for me because I love to see people think. And we can't just do what we believe or do what we think. We have to actually lean on the word. But before I get ahead of myself already, let's just dive straight into this. We're going to be talking about loving God. Again, this is the Ten Commandments and why are they so important? So we're going to start this off in Proverbs chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse 5. And it reads, Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Now, if we know what the word acknowledge means, it means to concede, to bow down to, go along with, accept. We are to go with what the word says. And the only way that you can acknowledge him at this point is to dive into what he has had written for us. So before we just start answering how we believe that we love the Lord, we should allow the Lord to tell us how we should be loving him. What are the terms of conditions of saying that we can be those that love the Lord, right? So I don't know if anybody has ever looked this up. According to Blue Letter Bible. I looked up love me, how many times that was within the Bible. And 9 times that is in the Bible, the two words going together, love me. The first time you ever see that, it is in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32, when it's Leah, when she is having Reuben, the son of Jacob. And she was talking about the husband loving her. So that has nothing to do with this message right here. So we're going to go to the next 2 times that this is ever mentioned. And the reason why I say the next 2 times is because in Exodus 20 and 6 and in Deuteronomy 5 and 10, it's verbatim what he says about loving him. So we'll go on and read this one. And it says, showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. And the word and means with, along with, together with, as well as. So if we go back and reread the 2 verses, 20 and 6 from Exodus and 5 and 10 from Deuteronomy, let's say it with the synonymous word that it uses for the definition of end. So it says, showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me with keeping my commandments. You cannot say that you love the Lord without keeping his commandments. But so that was Moses that wrote about that one. The other individuals that wrote about this, one is John and the other one is Solomon, the son of King David. And we're going to go to Proverbs chapter 8 and see what Solomon says about loving the Lord. And it reads, that's Proverbs 8 and 17. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness, in the midst of paths of right judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. So the 2 incidents, the 2 times right here now are within the same chapter that he mentions, love me. And he says in 17, I love them that love me. And we know that if you love him, you must keep his commandments. And verse 21, he says that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance. Now, we're not even going to get into those in this video, but we will talk about the inheritance that he is talking about for loving him. But let's go back to the verse 19 in this chapter where it says, my fruit is better than gold, yea, fine gold. Is there another reference to this? Is there anything that can actually be compared to this? And let's go now into Psalms 119, and we're going to start at verse 127. We're just going to read one verse, and the reason why we're going to this verse is because of how he described his fruit is better than gold, yea, fine gold. Psalms 119, 127 will tell you this. Therefore I love thy commandments above gold, yea, above fine gold. So the fruit that he is speaking of is the commandments, and that they are better than gold, yeah, fine gold. The commandments play the key component into trying to express how we love the Lord, because we followed his instructions, his sayings, and his commandments. But he also says that in my revenue than choice silver. This is also in verse 19. Let's go back to Psalms 119, but verse 72. And he says, the law of thy mouth is better unto me than thousands of gold and silver. And the reason I wanted to read that one is because it mentions both gold and silver. But to begin it, he says the law of thy mouth. And we all know the words that had came out of the Lord's mouth. But let's keep going. In verse 20 of chapter 8 of Proverbs, he says, I lead in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the paths of judgment. And if you recall from the Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 that we just read, he says that he will direct thy paths, and his paths lead to righteousness. And we know what righteousness is from our last video from Psalms 119, 172. Thy commandments are righteousness. Okay, so the other time that this is mentioned, the two words, love me, because this is what we are talking about. My friends and I, we were talking about how to love the Lord when I raised the question, how, and it left them speechless, because we're leaning on our own way of trying to explain something that the word already has an explanation for us for. So the only other individual that wrote about this besides Moses and Solomon is John, the Gospel of John. And we're going to start at we're going to start at chapter 8, verse 42. And it reads, Jesus said unto them, if God were your father, ye would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because ye cannot hear my word? Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. Which of you convinces me of sin? And if I say the truth, why do ye not believe me? He that is of God heareth God's words. Ye therefore hear them not, because ye are not of God. And if we recall what God's words are, right? We could go and check that out in Exodus 20:1, when he is given the 10 commandments. Or we could also go to Deuteronomy 5:4, where again, he is talking face to face with them, giving them commandments. That was in Deuteronomy 5:4. It was Moses reminding the children of Israel that God talked to you face to face, and he gave you his commandments. All right. The next chapter that we will go to is chapter 10, same book, but it's going to be chapter 10, and we're going to go to verse 17. We're going to read the one verse. He says, therefore doth my Father love me, because I laid down my life, that I might take it again. So in this incident, when he's talking about the two words love me, he's talking about the Father loving him. So this one isn't a part of this message. I just wanted to read all the incidences that the two words love me, that where they occur. And we'll go into the next time that he met the last chapter. And sorry, it seems like I'm speeding through this, but I gotta get ready to go head to church. So let's go to chapter 14, verse 15, and let's see what Jesus says about loving him. If ye love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him. But ye know him, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more. But ye see me, because I live. Ye shall live also. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. Judas saith unto him, not Iscariot, Lord, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us, and not unto the world? Jesus answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and he will come unto him, and make our abode with him. He that loveth me not, keepeth not my sayings, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father which sent me. So we see right here that Jesus says in the first verse that keeps it really simple is, if you love me, keep my commandments. Pretty self-explanatory right there. The other one is down in verse 21, where he says that he that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of the Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. And then also down in verse, 23, which plays a big part in where we're going to transition this to. But he says, Jesus that is, he says to Judas, not the Iscariot, that if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and he will come unto him and make our abode with him. And why is the abode so important to us? Because if we know what the word abode means, it's a home. I don't know if you guys ever heard the cliche or the thing of humble abode, but let's go see what Jesus says about abiding with him, since that's what the word means. In the next chapter 15 and verse 9, it says, as the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. So, keeping his commandments, he abides in your love, because he had kept the commandments and abide in the Father's love. What happens if we are not abiding in his love? Now let's go back up to verse 5, same chapter 15. And it reads, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered. And men gather them, and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. We do not want to be cast into the fire, because this is talking about the lake of fire, which is the second death. We want to be those that love the Lord and keep his words. The reason why is because we are married to Christ. He is our husband. And we, as the children of God, the sons and daughters of God, we are to follow his ways, his sayings, and his instructions. Why is that? Because he is saying his words. And if anybody has ever been to a wedding, you have to do vows. And if you know what vows are, they are a covenant. And we already read in our last one that the 10 commandments were the covenant, the tables of stone. We want to keep the vows. We want to keep the commandments. We want to keep his words. But this is for those with ears. And that is the way that we will love the Lord. God bless. Love.